Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the ultimate guide on how to play the Scholar in Elden Ring Nightreign. Now, there's a lot of misinformation going around about this character, and he's actually a very high skill ceiling character. He's also the only character in Nightreign that has a feint attack, so if you press your dodge and your attack button at the same time, or your heavy attack at the same time and hold it, he'll actually jump backwards, giving you a lot of invincibility frames. He also gets 50 scaling as his arcane stat at the start of the game, so at level 1 he's going to be dealing the most amount of damage, but he's also great at applying statuses, buffing the team, so you want to have the red relic from the Augur boss fight, and I'll be breaking down all the best strategies, item buffs, and builds, and everything for this in general. Now, the interesting thing is his stats actually lie to you. So he has a C scaling in his intelligence. Revenant has a B scaling in her intelligence. We consider her a decent caster. What's funny is if you give him a +3 to his intelligence, his damage will actually outnumber what Revenant is capable of doing. So you go into the test room and try that out if you want to see it. But yeah, that intelligence is a little bit higher than it says at C. But 50 points of arcane at level 1 is the big thing here. His passive gives him the ability to hold more items, and what's great about this is if you use the items, or the relics that give you items at the start of the game, this will actually give you more of them as well. Whenever you get to the level 2, it'll actually increase the damage or healing by 10 to 15%, and then the level 3 gives a special bonus, which we'll cover in a moment. Now, his Analyze has a couple things you want to watch out for. So when you see the clock going around there, once it reaches half, it's going to make the damage that they deal be 55% less. This can stack twice, so that gives you 10%. And once you get it to full, like you see here, this will make them take 20% more damage on the next hit. So yeah, if you got an ultimate charge from Undertaker, that's perfect time. Typically when you're analyzing, you want to make sure that they're fully covered with this. Otherwise, it's better to buff yourself, because when you press the right trigger, you instead create a endurance buff on your character. You can see this below your health bar with the green there. It stacks up to 2 times. But if you get it all the way full, you can then parry while using it. So it is pretty useful in that regard, because sometimes if you're getting focused by a boss, you do want to pull this out and try to parry them. You can also dodge while using it too, so that's something you see there. It does roughly around 300 damage. It's nothing crazy, but it does have pretty good stagger, so it will knock enemies down. One thing I want to mention with this, don't stay in that form at all the whole time. You do want to come in and out of it and dodge, because you'll see there it actually keeps the amount of charge that they have on them. It does go down over time, but it's better to analyze and dodge versus getting attacked, obviously. So play a bit more defensively, and once you get that full charge, you can then parry them just like that. Now, the Scholar's ultimate is actually really good. People say it's not good against solo bosses. However, you're going to likely be playing with friends or playing with randoms. What's great about this is when you use it against a solo boss and you have teammates that went down, if you attack them, that damage actually gets spread to your teammates, which will actually help revive them. So he can actually be really effective. He's good against both of the new bosses because they both have multiple enemies that will come out. So using this, what's cool about it is it also is going to spread the damage, 20% of that damage to multiple enemies. And then on top of that, all the damage that you dealt to enemies, that's going to also be the 20% that's added to other enemies is actually added as healing to your team. So yeah, you see there, we attack it once, it does 55 damage, and then the 20% of it's getting spread around there. That's just great because you're going to be healing your teammates for that amount, picking up your downed allies. So yeah, it's ideal to have multiple enemies. Obviously, it's meant to be chaining the extra damage around to everybody. Even if you don't have it, it's still pretty useful for solo bosses just because it's going to give you a little bit of extra. And what's even crazier is that all the buffs that you'll be applying will actually also chain around to all your teammates. So what's even crazier is if you got the flask upgrade from the Augur raid that gives you FP, you'll actually spread your FP around to multiple teammates. So it's pretty crazy. As far as weapons and the moveset go, I think the best choice is to get the Enspire Rapier if you can. I got this one with sleep on it against the balancers. It was so good. And with the sleep grease, you can do a lot of good with it. Frozen Needle's also obviously a really good one. Now, a lot of them they're all scaling S and dexterity. They're not, you're just going to get a bunch of random ones. They're all kind of the same. I do want to point out that his moveset's actually a little bit different. Most times with the thrusting swords, you thrust them. He doesn't. He does a couple thrusts and then he swings them. And this is good for a couple reasons, because it's going to spread damage around in an area of effect, so he's more likely to apply his conditions versus just doing a poke attack. And it comes out really quickly too. And you can also use the power stance attack too. It's actually a pretty good power stance moveset, so comes out quick. He's great for applying statuses, especially if you have a grease for a specific status. You can typically apply it in 2 pokes. Pretty crazy. All right, so just to show it off here, we can go with the little feinting attack, 2 pokes, and he has it. Again, the feinting attack is a huge component of this moveset because you can actually do a quick attack version of it. So he does have a small jump attack, so the feint attacks are really good. But you can also press and hold your heavy attack and do a heavy attack version of it. But this is good for a couple reasons, because it's, again, doing that swiping attack so you can hit targets if they're moving around nearby. But it also does a huge amount of stance damage, so I'd recommend doing that with the thrusting swords. Some other weapons that he actually uses very well, Mariah's Executioner Sword, because it does have B scaling and it's arcane. This is just a powerful weapon. The Bell-Bearing Hunter's Sword, obviously strong. The Bloody Helltie's Heavy Thrusting Sword is really nice as well. It does have a C scaling and arcane, but it applies bleed, so you're going to apply that really quickly. Morgoth's Cursed Sword is also really well done because it does have a great weapon action and it's bleed with a B scaling and arcane. Rivers of Blood is pretty nice too, but I'd probably prefer having that in the hands of an Executor, but if there's not one in your party, this can be a good weapon for you. I actually had an Eleanor's Pole Blade on a run, and it was fantastic because it does have a very mobile moveset. It applies bleed, and it has a B scaling in its arcane. But yeah, as mentioned earlier, the absolute best one would be the Ripple Blade, getting an S scaling in arcane. If you find this at the start of the game, yeah, you're going to carry your entire run. It's that good. And it even says in the text there, the attack power is greatly enhanced with one's arcane. Now, you can use Var's Bouquet with a C scaling in arcane, but this one really belongs to the Undertaker, so I'd give it to them if you have one on the party. And last recommendation is the Mogwin Sacred Spear, because this applies bleed really quickly, and when you use the weapon action, it applies Blood Flame on your blade. Remember from earlier when his normal attack was doing 50 damage? Yeah, this one hits for nearly 200. It's crazy. So yeah, this is the best weapon, and what's craziest is you'd be doing this damage at level 1, because his arcane is 50 at level 1. So yeah, if you find this weapon, GG's, it's his best weapon by far. Now, consumables are the name of the game when it comes to the Executioner. Scholar, he can carry an extra double the amount. So if you have a Cerulean Hidden Tier, for example, you can carry 2 of these. Each of these groups of items that you see here will kind of have its own effects shared when you level them up. This means that all the boluses will actually be combined together. So if you got a bunch of a certain type of these donuts here, you'll actually get a benefit for all of these. Now, they will increase the build up when you use them, but it'll also give you the resistance to that specific element. So they actually are really good to spam, and it'll also give you healing. And if you use your ult, you can actually chain that healing again. Now, all the food items here, so the pickled fowl foots, the crab and the prawns and the turtleneck and the flesh will all combine together. As you use one, it'll upgrade the others. And with these items, it takes 3 of them to level it up to level 2, and it takes 8 more items to get it to level 3. So 3 and an 8 for a total of 11. And at level 3, the silver and the gold will actually do both of its effects at the same time, which is really nice. The prawn and the crab will also give you affinity blocking, so that's really nice. It will help out with that. The pickled turtleneck will actually increase your stamina as well as boost its recovery. And with the exalted flesh, which normally boosts your attack, it'll also boost your affinity damage too. So yeah, these are all really good benefits. I recommend leveling these up. Obviously, pick up all the items. Now, my personal favorite item for the Scholar is turning him into somewhat of like an alchemist and throwing pots. It's really well done because whenever you throw a bunch of these, they have to actually deal damage to the enemy to be able to level them up, but they actually get going pretty good. Now, for the most part, all of these are going to increase the area of effect whenever you end up leveling them up to level 3, but some of them, like the Holy Pot, will actually heal your team, and then there's others like the Rot Pot, which I found just got rot immediately when using this. So against boss with high rot resistance, you can probably just throw 2 of these to get it applied. And the best of all, I think, is actually the sleep pots, which is great against the balancers because it makes a huge explosion, and it makes it like a deeper sleep too, which is nice. Now, you can also debuff the enemy because once you get throwing weapons up to level 3, they'll also make the enemy a little bit more weak to damage. So these can be good to just chip away at a boss as well. What's interesting is actually these glintstone scraps and the gravity stones, as well as the warming stone and the starlight shards, are all part of a group together. So that's why you may have noticed if you have a warming stone, you haven't used it all game, that it was level 3 randomly because you may have been using some of these. These, you actually just have to use them. It's not like the fire pots where you have to explode it on an enemy. You can just end up using these to get it to level up. And the warming stones will have a large area of effect, making it really good on a certain boss. Just really useful for keeping the team alive. These will also increase their area of effect and the damage that they're able to spread around. So yeah, if you use a gravity stone fan, you can see here it has a huge area of effect, which is really fun. And then other ones like the gravity stone chunks actually have a huge area of effect where they'll pull the enemy into, and you can see there. So don't neglect these items. They're normally in the castle area and they're easy to forget, but they can actually be pretty crazy, and they stun bosses pretty well too. There's also the Cuckoo Glintstone here, which does a huge explosion, and it has extra explosions that chain around and find the enemies. They do increase in size whenever you level it up, and the damage increases quite a bit there too, as you can see. And also the Starlight Shards will actually increase your max FP once you get them to level 3. Now the perfumes will also get increased damage as well. My personal favorite item is actually to keep the Wraith Calling Bell here, because you can get this, and you can actually get a relic that'll give you this at the start of the game. This is really good because it gives you a reliable early game damage option. So you want to proc your statuses and then use this at range to keep yourself alive, and then use your analyze as you see fit. And another thing is the greases are really well done once you level them up to level 3, is they'll extend the time that they're on your weapon. And they also make you apply the statuses really quickly. So things on rot and the sleep, it's very fast. Now, with all these items, there's one thing we absolutely do need. That is the Knight of the Fathom. You got to beat Augur to get this. And this will increase your maximum health points. Flask also heal allies, and items confer effects to nearby allies. This is the huge part because this makes us a support healer because now we're going to be dropping items and giving all the effects to our teammates. So yeah, when you're using the turtlenecks to boost your endurance, you're also going to be boosting your teammates and also putting all those extra effects onto them as well. This is really good. You can't play this without this. This is not necessary, but another fun one is the Grand Burning one here with the Wraith Calling Bell in the start of the expedition, because you can use that throughout the entire run. This one also came with attack up, obviously pretty nice. I also like the Dark Knight of the Champion, giving increased maximum stamina, increased attack power of affinity attacks, and defeating enemies will fill up our gauge, which we can then use it even more, which is good because a lot of the new bosses have multiple enemies, so we can get our arc gauge back quicker. Now, another really good one is the Knight of the Miasma, because with this, we can actually apply the Frostbite very quickly with this. And what's nice is it'll actually turn us invisible as well. So I actually like to throw this one on as well, because the Frost is actually very good against the Dreglord. And the Knight of the Wise is also a pretty decent one. Whenever you apply poison, it's going to increase your attack power. And I want to say that the Knight of Dregs is necessary because it's just so good. Attacks will inflict rot when damage is taken. This applies rot onto our weapon every time that we take a hit, which is really good because then we get another status on our weapon. This will also give us continuous health recovery as well. This is really good, but you obviously just have to beat the Dreglord, and some people that are watching this probably haven't, but just know there's a good reward coming, and if you already have this, this is one of the best in slot. I'd probably go with these three: Knight of the Phasm, Knight of the Dregs, and the Dark Knight of the Champion. So yeah, that is how to play the Scholar in Elden Ring Nightreign. Remember, if you find a Ripple Blade here, your run is pretty much going to be solid because, yeah, as scaling 50 arcane, it's pretty crazy. So let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I'm usually pretty quick to get back to them. I also have a video on Undertaker here, so you can check that out as well. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and subscribe if you did. Have a great day.